Hello, welcome to another episode of Catchpole's Politics, my opinions, views, and insights of the modern political world. Now, I'd like to introduce you now to the logo I have created: red, blue, and yellow, representing the three main political parties: Labour, the Conservatives, and the Liberal Democrats. And as the tagline says, it is my opinions, my views, and my insights, so no offence is meant. And this PowerPoint could, in fact, be slightly offended to those who support Jeremy Corbyn fully, but it is also just an insight and to make you think. I'm not saying I agree with what my views are here, they are just views to make you think. So let's get started and jump right in to the Labour Party, which is absolutely great. I read on an article today in The Independent that Labour has hit a 7-year low in the poll. They have fallen to 4th place. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around the Labour Party since this man, Jeremy Corbyn, was elected as leader of the Labour Party. Now, he won by an absolutely substantial amount, which in 2015, in the first year, which we can see Jeremy Corbyn came out with 59.5% of the vote, whereas in second place, Andy Burnham only came out with 19%, which is a difference of 80,462 to 251,417, which, doing a quick calculation off the top of my head, it's at around about 170,955, something like that. That is absolutely outstanding from the total of 422,664. But along came Brexit and a new Labour leadership race was triggered. So comparing the 2015 results, where we had 4 candidates: Liz Kendall, Jeremy Corbyn, Yvette Cooper and Andy Burnham, we ended up with only 2 MPs or members running for Labour leadership, and that was Jeremy Corbyn and Owen Smith. And as you can see here, Jeremy Corbyn won again with 61.8% of the vote compared to 38.2%. Now, of course, the margin was a lot less, as we can see the 313,209 to the 193,229 is a bit less than what was featured in the 2015 results. Anyway, so going back to the question, the people voted for Jeremy Corbyn, and the Labour Party has seen such an increase in the amount of voters who vote for them, and the amount of supporters that they've got, and the amount of members who are buying membership cards. But as was shown in that article in The Independent, and as polls show from YouGov and etc., we're not getting any votes. But why are we not getting any votes? Why is it shown that the Labour Party is failing? Now that could be back down to Jeremy Corbyn, and that would probably be my opinion. Here he is, there we go, and that's the article. Labour hits 7-year low in new poll after by-election drop from 2nd to 4th place. So we've gone from 2nd after the Conservatives to now 4th after the Conservatives, UKIP and the Liberal Democrats. That's quite low. And that's the Independent, that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, I do read The Independent. I feel I quite like The Independent. And of course, as I've said, and as my logo says, this is my view. But I think Jeremy Corbyn is showing that old sort of style left-wing politics. The politics we saw in the 70s, and if I remember from the 70s, we were in an absolutely horrible recession, and Margaret Thatcher in the 80s, if she did one thing, she managed to get us out of that. I don't like Margaret Thatcher either, so that's not the point I'm making, of course. But of course, who was the last Labour leader or Prime Minister to actually do Britain some good? And how do you measure a good Prime Minister? Well, I mean, the best way is to vote how many terms they had. And this man had 3 terms, albeit he did some bad things, and albeit he did some good things. Tony Blair pictured has probably been replaced now by the modern day Tory party, which is kind of slightly more left than they were back when they were completely unelectable during Tony Blair's reign. But was he so bad? I mean, there's the obvious thing about the Iraq War, but what else can you say bad about him? That's something to think about. But of course, you could also look at another fantastic Prime Minister, Harold Wilson. What did he do? Well, did quite a bit. He did create a overall restructuring and reshapement of Britain's role in the world after inheriting an overstretched military and a £400 million payment deficit. That caused a massive sterling crisis before he came elected. And he also launched a defence review and created the Department for Economic Affairs. He also recognised the value of the membership of what was at the time the European Economic Community, and now the European Union. And that was all great until 1970, when he called a general election and suffered a defeat by the Conservative Party, who was at the time ran by Edward Heath, I believe. So, what is the future, not just for Labour, but for politics? Do we have a vote of no confidence on Jeremy Corbyn? Is he too left-wing? Do we bring back Blair? Now that's a question to ask. Who is liked by the overall Labour Party and supporters? I mean, that is a really important question, because that would definitely increase popularity in the Labour Party. And has left-wing politics had its day? We can look at Marine Le Pen in the French elections coming up, and with Marine Le Pen being elected, we could definitely see a collapse in the European Union. And therefore, what will happen to socialism? Is socialism a good thing? Is socialism a bad thing? I mean, that's up to you to decide. Depends how far left or far right you are. I'm not saying either way, but I'll leave you with 2 quotes, one for socialism. If you can find money to kill people, you can find money to help people. That's Tony Benn, great MP. And of course one for capitalism, saying the inherent vice of capitalism is the unequal sharing of blessings. The inherent virtue of socialism is the equal sharing of miseries. And that was by Winston Churchill. Okay, he did quite well in the war, but he probably didn't do that much good after that. Interesting fact about Winston Churchill during the Great Fog in the 50s. He put it down to an act of God, and of course he would do nothing about it. Hundreds of people have reportedly died during the Great Fog, and if the fog hadn't have lifted, the Queen would have given a vote of no confidence. So I'm going to leave you with that today, and that will be all from this episode of Catchpole Politics. I have run over 10 minutes. That's not going to be too much of a problem. And cheerio, I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta!